I'm just Jay.
And I'm T.
And together with Ozzie, we have packed the car and are driving to Belize. Come join us on our journey. Hello.
Hello.
Well, I want to say welcome to day 9.
9. It's day 9. But it should be day 8.
Should be day. This is becoming very confusing. We thought it was day 6. It was actually day 7. That would have been day 8.
Monday,
This is day 9.
Monday was day 8. This is day 9, but
This
we're
is
doing
day 9.
day 8 video.
Yes. And it's actually not day 9. It's like day 10 or 11. Because we took a couple days without doing video. And we'll tell you why. It's been a little bit crazy. So, last we left off was we were in Villahermosa.
Yes.
At the Hotel and Suites Real de Lago.
Okay.
Or Del Lago. And we left that morning for Chetumal.
With the expectation that we may not make it to Chetumal.
Yeah, so we did plan for... I looked up a couple hotels. A couple little spots that we may have to stop if we did get caught up in what we knew was coming, which was the construction for the Maya Tren. Tren de Maya, I'm not sure how they say it, but yeah, it's a big deal. They're putting in a rail system that is going to make travel throughout that part of Mexico super easy and incredible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a big deal and a huge undertaking.
Right now, it's not awesome.
Not if you're trying to drive to Chetumal.
No. So we heard stories about people taking 10, 12 longer, having to stay overnight partway through. So in anticipation of that, we left crack of dawn on that morning from Villahermosa.
Well, I think to be specific, sunrise was at 6. We left at about 22:06 that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was still dark outside.
It was still dark, but it was just starting to lighten up a little bit so that we knew we would be able to see road hazards and stuff pretty quick after we got out of the city. So we left early, and again, we planned for a long day. So we planned for no lunch breaks. We ate oatmeal in the hotel. This is working out really well for us with our little jet boil and our oatmeal. So we made some coffee, got in the car and drove pretty aggressively. I mean, the speed limit and all, but you know, pretty seriously. And we're really surprised that we didn't hit the traffic volume and the construction and the detours that we thought we would hit.
Yeah, we were pleasantly surprised. Now, there was a couple things in our favor. And again, like so much of this trip, we just got lucky.
We did.
We left on a Sunday, which we didn't know would be that big an impact. And the other thing is, leaving so early, we went through a few unmanned checkpoints, military checkpoints.
Yeah.
So obviously they were unmanned, so there was no lineup, there was no problem. We did 2 tolls, the shortest lines at tolls I've seen through our entire trip to Mexico.
Yeah.
So I think because it was a Sunday and because we left early, it was a very light traffic volume.
It was. So there were still construction workers out there. We saw trucks, gravel trucks and equipment, and we saw the flag people out there, but we didn't see, I don't think the volume of construction that maybe goes on during the week, but what we definitely didn't see is the volume of traffic that goes on during the week. So we had very limited stopping times. We had to stop occasionally, do a little bit of a detour, but we basically went straight through.
Yeah, I think one of the big things is it is going to be, even when that the rail construction is done, going to be one of the slowest parts of your trip from Canada to Belize, because it's almost all single lane. There's very little divided highway between Villahermosa and Chetumal. And then when you throw in some construction or an accident, like what we saw was the gravel trucks. There was a lot of gravel trucks. And had the traffic volume been heavy, it would have jammed traffic up.
100%.
But we had light traffic volume for the most part, we were able to pass them freely.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is the road. It's some of the worst. Some of the worst roads. There was a lot of potholes. You had to be really, really careful on this stretch of road.
Yeah, so to be clear, a lot of the road was good, but where there was a pothole, it was a serious pothole.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bump. It was 12, 18 inches deep, and it varied. I mean, between 2 feet to 6 feet or whatnot.
Yeah, there was easily some that if you hit them at speed, you would have broke the axle, broke the bead on your tire, like done damage to your vehicle.
Yeah, for sure. And we definitely have heard stories of people telling that they seriously damaged their vehicle. But again, we followed local traffic. We followed local vehicles, gravel trucks when we could, and we just went into the lanes they went in and veered where they veered, and we did all right.
Yeah. If a vehicle passed us and looked like they knew how to avoid the potholes, then we'd just tag along,
tucked in behind them, and away we went. So yeah, it was pretty clear sailing compared to what we thought it would be. Yeah. And I think it took us about 8.5 hours.
Yeah, I think so. There's a time change in there,
there's a time change, and when we got to town, we went to Walmart, and so we weren't like super paying attention to what our timings were. But I think it was about 8.5 hours. Yep. So good thing about Chetumal too, there's a Walmart there, so that was really nice. We were able to stop and get some water and get some stuff for supper that night. Oh, we went out for supper. Yeah.
We got a few snacks, but mostly it was we were killing time until we could check into our Airbnb, and it was a reconnaissance, so we know what the Chetumal Walmart looks like, what it has, and we know if we ever want to make the journey there for anything we can't find in Belize, what it has. So
yeah, because we are debating on settling in northern Belize, and there's not a lot of large cities around there. So Chetumal would definitely be the largest city. But of course you do need to watch, because anything you go into Chetumal across the border to buy, you're paying duty on the way back. So you got to figure out whether or not it's cheaper once you pay that duty.
Yeah, and it seems appealing, but I think a common consensus is a lot of people don't bother. It's just not worth it. Yeah,
unless it's something you just really can't find where you are.
Yep.
So, so then we did our video last time from the Airbnb that we stayed at, which was just so nice. It was just so nice. It had a nice private yard for Oz, and great neighborhood. We were really surprised at how friendly the neighborhood was. So we would go out for a walk, and every person you pass is buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches, whatever, just whatever. They're super friendly. Everybody's waving, and it doesn't matter if it's an older person or a teenager or somewhere in between. We don't see that in Canada, where our teenagers are so friendly. I think they're not raised to be so vocal with strangers and stuff. So it was just really nice. Just a really nice little place.
And I think, to be fair, in Canada we're much more introverted, much more private. Where there's a lot more outgoingness, a lot more people just seem more communicative. So it was very pleasant, wonderful little neighborhood.
Yeah, really nice.
Yeah, we walked for a few groceries. We walked for supper. We took Oz out for a walk at 8, 9 o'clock at night when it was well after dark, and never a thought to safety, a concern. No, it was really lovely. It was a nice break from the hotels.
So next morning, we weren't as rushed to get going, because we knew that the border crossing was only 15 minutes away, and the place that we were staying was only half an hour past that. So we didn't want to get going too early, because we wouldn't have any place to stay before we were able to check in. So we did spend a little bit of time at the Airbnb walking Oz and stuff, but then we did get on the road and cross the border into Belize.
We did, yes.
So the first thing that happened is we didn't know what line to get in. As soon as we got into the border area, or quite a ways back from the border area, there were vehicles parked. And some vehicles were going past and some vehicles were stopped. And so we didn't know what to do, so we stopped. And there was a nice young man in front of us who got out of his vehicle for a stretch or whatever. And so T got out and went and chatted with him a little bit and got some information from him. Wasn't all 100% correct. Not any fault of this gentleman at all.
No,
because he has never entered Belize as a tourist.
Yeah, he's a Belize resident who now lives in Florida. And we chatted a bit, and he was very open about. He said, "I've never entered as a visitor, so I don't know." And then we got talking further, and after a while, we realized we were probably in the wrong line.
Yeah. So after a few minutes, it was great because we actually made some connections here for some maybe potential rentals or something like that in the future. But then we did go around this stopped line and went to the little white booth, which is for getting your passport stamped at immigration, and it had a sign on it that said, "Continue on, go across the street, and then walk over here with your passports." But we didn't make it that far.
Nope.
we started to turn into that little section, and another nice young man with the same name. Actually, they were both Edwards. Yellow shirt, official badge, waved at us and followed us into the parking lot, and then asked if we needed some help, and we said, "Sure."
And we're up front, asked him what it would cost, and they do it for tips. He said, people pay 20, people pay 30, people pay 40. So we just agreed on a price ahead of time.
Yes.
And then he walked us through the process.
And it was money well spent. We probably could have stumbled our way through it, but honestly, he got us through so fast. So he not only took us through the process of exiting Mexico, but he also took us through the process of getting into Belize. So that was really nice. Yeah. And he's got some pull. Oh, everybody knows him.
He knows a guy. He knows a guy.
He knows a guy.
He
Every place we go,
fairly quick.
He's got a guy. So, and he brought us forms ahead of time. Said fill these out. Then when we get there, you'll be ready to go, and we'll get this through. And so we got us through exiting Mexico, and then he got us into Belize, including getting Oz through the Baja office.
And just to go through the process real quick, you go to the Bannercita and you get your tip canceled.
This is in in Mexico still.
Yeah, and then your visa, your temporary visa, canceled there as well.
Yeah, and you get your exit stamp in your passport.
Yeah, and you get your exit stamp in your passport at that point, which you need. You need that stamp.
Yeah.
And then you leave Mexico, and then you go to Belize, and you go to the Belize immigration wicket in their building, and they ask you where you're staying. Just typical stuff.
Quick story.
Yeah.
So we're standing there, and the gentleman is asking us the address of the Airbnb we're staying at. I have no idea. We haven't had that communication yet from the Airbnb lady. And I said, I don't know. Here's a picture of it. Her name is this lady's name. And our man Edward says, "Oh, I know her. I know her well. Let me give her a call." And then he just tells the agent, "This is where that house is." And the agent
he never did get through to the host for Airbnb, but then he described the location of the Airbnb to the customs agent. Yeah. And he accepted that.
So that's how small of a country it is, that the gentleman that is helping you get into the country knows the lady, good friend of the lady who happens to be where you're staying at the Airbnb. Yeah. So that was a cute story.
Yeah, and then we got through that. Then Jay went to the Baja office to get Ozzie into the country. And I went to the other immigration wicket to get our temporary import permits for the vehicle. And then Jay and Edward were done. They went back to the car, and I turned right around, and behind me was another window. I paid the $30 Belize for the tip, and then we were on our way.
Yeah, one other little thing. We had beer in our vehicle. Weren't really sure, but thought it might have been a problem. 100%. Yeah, don't try and bring beer across the border. Again, thankfully Edward, which works out well for him, says, "Give me the beer." Yeah. You're not going to get across the border with it, and then they're going to want to go through your whole car if they find it. So, so he got 7 beer out of the deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we went through the final inspection right at the customs basically the last point of entry, or the last checkpoint. We went through that. They asked a bunch of questions, opened up the car, took a look at things, and then we proceeded from there to, so now we're done with the border, but then we proceeded directly to the insurance company, put insurance on the Belize insurance on the vehicle, and that was it.
And drove into Corzo.
Yeah, it was very smooth.
Yeah, 100%. And that's how we got from Canada to Belize.
Yeah.
We high-fived, had a kiss, found the Airbnb, cracked a beer, cheersed.
And that was that.
And that was that, and we were in Belize. And so yeah, but it's been a couple crazy days. We're actually at a new Airbnb now. Airbnb, the one we were gonna stay at didn't work out for us. No fault of the person that we were staying with. We just realized we needed a bigger place. So we drove through. We're now in Startaneja. So this is the start of our investigating and reconnaissance of Belize to decide if we really want to live here. Yeah.
It's been a pretty good start.
It's been a pretty good start.
Yeah.
And I think that this is sort of the end of our video series for this portion of our potential move to Belize.
I agree.
All right. So that's it. So I hope you've enjoyed. If you have any questions, of course, just shoot us a message, and we'll just keep carrying on, and we'll let you guys know what's going on.
Bye.
Bye.